Imany, this is quite incredible you found some time for us. Hello.
Hello, hi. Nice to see you.
Bardzo się cieszymy, że z nami jesteś. I was trying to count how many times you've been to Poland. Próbowałam policzyć, ile byłeś w Polsce.
I don't remember, but
It's
I mean, in the last 15 years, I want to say 10 times maybe. And I did a tour. I came to Lublin many years ago. Yeah. I was pregnant, I remember.
w Lublinie była i nawet grała, kiedy była w ciąży. Poland has treated you very well. We gave you our big award on a very
Yes.
big festival. It's funny that we just recently found out that you were so focused on the festival that you were not aware of that award. That was quite some time ago, right?
No,
That
I
was
didn't know that it was
our
so
Słowik,
special.
our rossignol. This is very important for us.
I know, it's like the Victoire de la Musique here in France, and nobody really explained it to me. And it's only when I got it, and I'm pretty sure you can find the video where I was like holding the statue, and I'm like, well, I haven't prepared anything yet. I thought I was just gonna come and sing, and go home, but it's an amazing memory.
Sięgnęłam wspomnieniami do bursztynowego słowika, bo to było bardzo ważne dla Imany i później dopiero po fakcie. Wcześniej nikt jej nie powiedział, że ona tę nagrodę dostanie, więc trochę była zaskoczona. I rzeczywiście porównanie do Wiktora muzycznego francuskiego ma tutaj swoje uzasadnienie. Victoire de la musique you mentioned, but you also got that one, right?
No, I didn't. You know
You were
what?
nominated.
I was nominated for German Music Award, French Music Award, but I got the Polish award.
Czyli to było tak, że była nominowana i w rodzinnej Francji, i w Niemczech, ale od Polaków dostała. Your song, Don't Be So Shy, is still on air. Seriously. It's how
incredible.
popular it is. But I think it's definitely time for a new chapter because you are a different person now, a different woman. I am entitled to ask this question because we are more or less the same age. But do you think that passing 40 is some kind of a new gate to the self-development? Or age doesn't really matter because it's what you do with yourself?
It's both, I think. But you need experience. You need to be living this life in order to self-develop yourself. So it comes with time. So it's not a coincidence that it happens around the time when you start to hit 40, because it's basically half of your life. I tend to think that from 0 to 10, you obey your parents. They tell you what to do and they try to instill values in you. And then from 10 to 20, you try to figure out yourself. You think you figure it out, but really what you're doing is repeating what you've been taught. And then 20 to 30, you try to apply everything that you've been taught. And then you're 40 and you realize that none of it was what you wanted. And so and so you gotta,
Yep.
make up your own rules basically. I feel like it's that way for a lot of people, especially women.
That's pretty accurate. Let me briefly translate what you've just said, because actually I think it should be written in some self-development books, what you just said, because that's so accurate. Zapytałam, bo mam do tego prawo, czy to 40 czyni kobietę trochę inną, czy może właściwie to jest tak, że wiek nie ma znaczenia dla rozwoju osobistego. Imany mówi, że tak, od 1 do 10, od 0 do 10 to słuchamy, co nam mówią rodzice, od 10 do 20 próbujemy sami wykombinować, jak to działa. Potem od 20 do 30 powtarzamy różne schematy i właściwie dopiero ta 40 okazuje się, że to jest połowa życia, że właściwie nic z tego nie działa i wtedy ustanawiamy sobie własne zasady na podstawie już bardzo bogatego doświadczenia, bo to doświadczenie rzeczywiście jest potrzebne. No i mówiła jeszcze o tym, że rzeczywiście dla kobiet ta 40, tak, tutaj to ona jest istotna i to jeszcze bardziej się do tego to stosuje. I was asking about that because your new album is quite personal. It's about rage, which you experienced yourself, right? It's based on what you went through.
Yeah, I mean, everybody experience rage, right? Everybody experience anger. The only question is like, Well, the album is called Women Deserve Rage. And not deserve as a fact like we, it's a punishment, but it's a fundamental, sorry, right. We have the right to be angry. We have every reason to be, first of all. And second of all, we have the right to be angry and to address this anger. Because if we don't, then we're not whole. And the reason women are programmed not to address their anger is because, we're not supposed to disturb the peace. We're supposed to say yes to everything that's been asked of us, right? But if you do that, maybe the peace outside is maintained, but the war is inside of yourself.
Mądre to było, przetłumaczę znowu. No więc tak, album nazywa się Kobiety zasługują na wściekłość. Imany mówi o tym, że że wściekłość jest przywilejem, że to nie chodzi o to, że to jest kara, ta wściekłość, ale że to jest coś, do czego warto dotrzeć. Z tego powodu, że szczególnie kobiety są uczone, żeby być odpowiedzialne za pokój, żeby ten pokój wokół zachowywać, żeby to ognisko pięknie pielęgnować. I być może tak jest, że zgadzasz się na wszystko, żeby tylko inni mieli spokój, ale wtedy, jeżeli tak postępujesz, to gniew, ta wściekłość i ta wojna trwa w tobie. What was really interesting is that you put some very personal voice notes, voice mails between the songs. Mm-hmm. And I think this is brave on one hand. On the other, this is like touching every woman's personal notebook, because I think we all have these kind of messages from our friends. Yeah. Imany pomiędzy piosenkami umieściła wiadomości głosowe od przyjaciółek. I to jest odważne oczywiście, a z drugiej strony chyba wszystkie kobiety mają podobne wiadomości od swoich przyjaciółek w telefonach.
Yes, I want it to be the most authentic possible in this journey. So all the notes, the interludes that are in the album are real. There are messages that I got from friends that I got throughout, this whole breakup thing. And that I would go back to and listen when I really felt like alone, when I felt like nothing made sense anymore. I would go back to those notes. And I felt like they had a space in this album, since it was an album about self-discovery. And in that self-discovery, I discovered very beautiful girlfriends. I like to say, I don't know how you're going to translate that, but when there's a storm, it's always very painful, because you get to see what wasn't solid, right? But you get to see what is. And friends are that thing that is solid after any storm. So that's the beauty of it, There's something beautiful out of any most painful destructions, And so those audios are a reminder of that.
To są wiadomości naprawdę od jej przyjaciółek. To są wiadomości, których słuchała przechodząc przez bolesny proces rozwodu, kiedy czuła się najbardziej opuszczona, najbardziej sama, i te wiadomości to dodawały jej otuchy w czasie, kiedy najbardziej jej potrzebowała. Imany mówi o tym, że takie burze, to bolesne rozstanie, w tym one oczywiście są bardzo przykre i pokazują, co było nietrwałe, a jednocześnie pokazują też, co przetrwało i tym, co jest takie piękne i co może przetrwać, jest właśnie przyjaźń. I w każdej burzy jest właśnie to piękno, że ona obnaża to, co było stałe, co było trwałe, co jest wartościowe, co warto zatrzymać. A album w ogóle jest o odkryciu siebie. That's the storm, and then you discovered something, a completely different landscape, right?
Right. And the first thing that I saw was myself, First of all, I was part of the thing that's still standing, And I discovered that I was much bigger than I thought I was. I discovered that especially when you get into the marriage thing. You got your career, your kids, you're married. You give yourself so much to the relationship, to the family. And at some point you even think maybe this is going to be your life and there's no more. And sometimes you stay in the wrong relationship because sometimes for the kids, sometimes because you think, what would I be without it? And this album says, you know what you'll be? You'll be you, but stronger, bigger, happier. Um, that no bad relationship with someone else is worth your well-being. So it's such a comment on dit, un enseignement, such a
Deep.
learning experience, voilà. Learning experience for anybody who's like going through that and still standing.
I'll start translating from the end. Zacznę od końca tłumaczenie, czyli to było ogromne doświadczenie i ogromna lekcja i ogromna nauka. Imany mówi, że bycie z kimś po to, żeby tylko być, albo bycie z kimś dla dobra, takiego w ogóle ogółu, nie jest warte takiego poświęcenia. Czasami kobiety stawiają się w takich sytuacjach i myślą sobie, kim byłabym bez tego związku, czy kim byłabym bez tego mężczyzny. A Imany mówi głośno, byłabyś sobą. Jeszcze lepszą, jeszcze silniejszą, jeszcze piękniejszą, bo właśnie to odkryła po tej wielkiej burzy, że pierwszym elementem tego krajobrazu, który przetrwał, była ona sama, jeszcze silniejsza, o wiele silniejsza niż myślała. I are you your own boss? Do you have your own artistic freedom? Do you have the last word about your songs, how they're going to sound, what kind of band it's going to be?
Well, right now it's my own label. I left my old label.
Another breakup.
Another breakup. And so I have not only artistic freedom, but like I have financial decisions. I know where my money is going. Being an artist, being signed by a label, there's a lot of like dark areas that you never get to be able to look into. And my contract was a pretty bad contract, actually. So I'm happy now that I'm getting control of all of that. And right now I'm working on the upcoming tour. Hopefully I'll get to come back to Poland. But
you already know there are people waiting for you. You have your fans here. You know that. I'm pretty sure. I zapytałam, czy Imany ma wolność artystyczną nad swoimi piosenkami. I tutaj uwaga, takie rozstanie też się okazało potrzebne, bo miała bardzo źle sformułowany kontrakt i rozstała się z wytwórnią. I teraz rzeczywiście sama decyduje. Sama też ponosi finansową odpowiedzialność przed sobą oczywiście i przed muzykami, ale sama decyduje o kształcie swoich piosenek, o tym, jaki to będzie zespół, co tam się będzie działo i przede wszystkim, co będzie działo się muzycznie. I think you're quite well prepared for that. Looking at your story, you were a model when you were very young, and before you were a model, you were practicing a very demanding sport. And I think that both those careers taught you a lot of self-discipline.
Oh yeah, it taught me a lot of self-discipline, a lot of life in general, because yes, I was an athlete in national team in France, and then I was a model, and then I did so many little jobs because I was in New York, and after 9/11, it was really hard to get gigs at a model. So I did all little small job possible in order for me to become a singer. I needed the money, take a voice lesson, all of that. So even that, it took discipline, to wake up really early, to go to bed really late, make money, pay your rent, take voice lesson, acting lesson, all of that. And sometimes I know a lot of women that have that ability, and sometimes this is used against us, don't you think? They know we are resilient. They know.
Oh, so then you can do more.
Yes.
And they can give you more things to do.
And so that they can do less as well. And then they can squeeze all the juice out of you, And so my goal right now, after knowing all of that, is like, yes, I'm going to use my discipline and my sense of resilience towards me now. And see where it takes me.
Nawiązałam do tych czasów, kiedy Imany na początku była profesjonalną młodą sportsmenką, była w drużynie narodowej francuskiej, a potem była modelką. Modelką w Stanach Zjednoczonych, w Nowym Jorku. I pomyślałam, że te dwie, chociaż tak odległe dyscypliny, na pewno nauczyły ją dużo właśnie takiej wewnętrznej dyscypliny. Imany się z tym zgadza i mówi, że było jeszcze ciekawiej, bo w Nowym Jorku, tuż po zamachach wrześniowych, przecież już ponad 2 dekady temu, to był taki czas, kiedy nie miała zlecenia jako modelka, więc musiała imać się różnych małych dorywczych i dużych dorywczych prac, żeby także opłacić sobie lekcje muzyki, żeby opłacić sobie lekcje aktorstwa, żeby się utrzymać w ogóle tak siebie. I mówi o tym, że jest pewne niebezpieczeństwo, bo jeżeli tak dużo robisz i tak wiele potrafisz zrobić i jesteś taka wytrzymała, to są ludzie, którzy chcą to wykorzystać i na twoje barki zrzucić jeszcze więcej do zrobienia. I teraz ona, wiedząc o tym, ile potrafi i jak bardzo jest wytrzymała, ukierunkuje to, żeby pomóc sobie, żeby sprawdzić, gdzie ją samą to wszystko zaprowadzi. The translation wiped out my next question. Sorry. Yeah. It's coming back to this album, to the one that we are listening to. I think it will be our record of the week. So this is how I'm preparing this interview as well. We started with a song, I Am Who I Am, which is kind of the end of the whole journey, right? But I understand why you chose it as the leading single, because it's a light at the end of that storm, isn't it?
Exactly. Nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. The bad times and the good times, nothing lasts forever. But at the end of a bad period of your life, there's always the light. And I truly believe that the reason we have to go through the darkness is to enjoy, to be able to see and recognize the light, There's a purpose in all of that.
Imany jako singiel zapowiadający album wybrała piosenkę Jestem kim jestem. To jest piosenka jedna z ostatnich, która właściwie kończy album i nie do końca kończy, ale chodzi o to, że pojawia się pod koniec albumu i pokazuje takie światełko w tunelu całej tej burzy. I zgadza się, tak właśnie jest. W każdej burzy jest światło. To był piękny przekaz, piękne, dość filozoficzne wyjaśnienie właśnie tej piosenki. Oczywiście będziemy jej słuchać na naszej antenie także. Now I understand that the depth in your voice is not just something that you were given, physically, how your vocal cords are shaped, but it also comes from everything that you've experienced, from the spirits that you recall, from your vocal role models as well.
Probably, yeah. I think so. I think it's part of experience, and also maybe the lives of women before me. And somehow I do sometimes feel like my mission is kind of like to be able to speak for all the women that couldn't speak for themselves in my family before me.
Who were not allowed to be raised.
Probably, yeah.
Pomyślałam sobie, że ta głębia w głosie nie wynika jedynie z tego, jak ukształtowane są fizycznie jej struny głosowe, ale właśnie z przeżyć, z tego, co przeżyła i z połączenia z przodkiniami. I Imany zgadza się z tym, że być może to jest tak, że wyraża także to, czego kobiety w jej rodzie nie mogły wyrazić do tej pory. Na przykład właśnie ten gniew, bo były uciszone. And there's also one thing that I would like to state, because for us, you just appeared like out of nowhere, right? Because, well, people who followed who knew you as a face, as a model, knew you, but when a hit comes, it's like, wow, there's a hit. There's suddenly a new person on the radar. But the thing is, it's not like you were this model who just thought, okay, I'm bored, so I want to sing now. You've been preparing for that for quite some time before you started a successful career.
That's exactly what I wanted to do. It's not like, I mean, and any journey is valid, you know, but as a 7-year-old, I came to my dad and I said, Dad, I want to be a singer. I think I want to be a singer. And he was not happy with that. And he said, no, of course. He wanted me to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something respectable. But I knew it was a calling. It was a voice who was telling me, yeah, you're going to be a singer. Because that was the only thing that really made me feel whole, not happy, like whole. Like I knew it was my place. So it's exactly what you said. Everything that I did was a preparation for me to be here in front of you because there is just no reason for me to be having an interview with you living in Poland, right? Me, my parents coming from one of the smallest and poorest country in the world, the Comores Island. There is just nobody who would have, predict that. But yet we are here.
Yet I listen to you and I think of women
listen to
before me.
me
And I think of women before me, and there are so many things in common as well.
Exactly. Exactly. And you listen to my songs and it does something to you and it makes you reflect on your own situation. And we share this common energy. So we have more in common than we think. You being all the way over there in Poland, me be all the way here. And but it all started with that desire to be a singer, to become a singer, and use everything that I learned along the way and put it in a song so it can reach you. I think it's beautiful. I feel very lucky, even though sometimes it's really hard. I still know that I'm so grateful, so grateful.
This is a beautiful ending to our conversation, because even in a storm, gratefulness can save you. So thank you for your time.
Will save you. Yeah.
And we're waiting here for you in Poland.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you left us something really important to discover, a very important message in your album, and we will be doing that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.